You're listening to Planet Vero Radio. I am Cindy Schwartz. This is the Patient Partners Show. We are broadcast on iHeartMedia and also podcast on Spreaker. And we're distributed on all kinds of Spreaker platforms, Spotify, iHeart, you name it, all the major platforms. I have Jeannie Roller with me, a co-host. She is on live stream with me from Indiana. I also have Michelle Geyer, who's with us for the third time in a row. We're talking about her daughter, Jessie, who was died in a California ER with poor medical care and poor medical testing and all those kind of things. Just to recap real quick, Jessie was 7 years old, Michelle, and the testing was supposedly done and it wasn't done, and it's just a sad story. So if you're following this podcast and certainly on the radio show today, we want to get to some of the things that you did, Michelle, to try to get some, I don't even want to use justice as the word because there doesn't seem to be anything in these medical situations that really come close to that word, but just what you did to try to bring attention to this, to try to get some closure, to try to get some help, and try to figure out really what to do to go forward because your daughter died.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this, like the best advice to get people, because for me, when you got to get aggressive and think outside the box, because if you just go through the motions, oh yeah, file an application, do this, that's not going to work. And for me, I thought, okay, I called the Contra Costa Times, and I kind of I didn't want to explain a bunch. I just said, listen, my daughter's dead, and I think a doctor killed her. And just that was enough for them to call me back. And I think that's an important thing to remember, because then once you can get a dialogue with a reporter, then you're in. Then you get to tell your story. And then the reporter will report it. And you can talk about the law. See, I focused on the law because I said, I think they killed her, and I found out there's nothing I can do about it. And so then it went another step. Well, what are you talking about? So then it went to another one. And then it was like, then I called after it was coming out in the newspapers. I said, okay, I'm calling ABC 7 News. And I said, instead of just saying, describing something, I said, have you been following the story in the Contra Costa Times about the death of a 7-year-old little girl? And I said, oh, actually, yeah, okay, well, I'm her mother. And this is really important because it's about the law. And she didn't know anything about it. So she was like, whoa. So that's how it went. And you just get a sympathy. Try just different ways. And show your emotion. I was just like, gosh, this happened. And I was like, this is wrong. You got to help me here. And you just got to keep trying. Don't give up.
Yeah, that's the big thing too. Like we've talked in the other segments, is that you have to get the emotion in there. The things that Jeannie Roller and I have found, and this is no disrespect to anyone, I just don't know how to really say it any differently, is in our cases, no one died. So that was it. That was the end of anyone listening to us. And even all the agencies, and I want to ask you about that too, Michelle, the agencies that come to the forefront of all the paperwork and whatever that you think are going to help you, they don't.
No.
They don't.
It's actually against you. It's against you.
Yeah.
It's set up that way. And that's why this is so important to talk about the law. I mean, we can get to patients. See, a lot of people will focus on what was done to them and want to improve on that.
Right.
I got invited to a lot of sepsis groups. Well, I learned enough about sepsis, and that's not going to be my avenue because, okay, she died from it. But the law, how are we going to change anything if we can't get people heard? So that was me. That was my bullet point. And that's what I've been doing for 19 years.
Yeah.
Which actually amendment came. Never thought I would see to live it. So that's a good thing. I think the more we do this, the more people do podcasts, the more we talk about it, spread the word, ask people to spread the word. The best, that's just the best. I had a business card made.
Did you?
And I went down. Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I had my daughters in there, and I made it. And my husband got it printed, and I started handing them out. And I made a website, and I got real aggressive that way. And I just started just trying anything possible, and also getting a hold of patient safety group in your state, finding out what leading patient safety groups that are in your state, and then you got to check out who's leading those patient safety groups. Because here's another problem. We've got traitors within the patient safety group.
Yeah.
So you're not only dealing with all the mess that you're having to go through, hitting brick walls. Let's say you get a little moment, then you got to watch your back. I can tell you stories about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got people that commit suicide. I mean, there's just a lot to this. It's a huge problem, and there's just no media attention because they don't want it out there.
Right.
They don't want it.
Yeah, that's what Jeannie Roller. Jeannie, you want to pipe in for that? That's what Jeannie Roller and I talk about all the time. I mean, I contacted big presses, which I'm not going to name the names, and I forget about getting your foot in the door. The door wasn't even open. They could care less.
No, they don't. It's for them. Their advertising dollars come mostly from the medical community, so they're not interested.
Mm-hmm. Or they can't be interested. I'll be the devil's advocate with that. Maybe they can't be interested. I mean, they're trying to sell papers, so, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, to coin that. So today, Michelle, your daughter Jessie died. It's been 19 years. How do you feel with you're in California? That's where this happened. How do you feel now today with staying with this for 19 years? Do you have any closure?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I finally feel like yes.
Okay.
Not because I got any justice for Jessie. I knew that wasn't going to happen. So all this time I've been fighting to change that law. And my daughter's been part of it. And I've been part of it. And so just to get that victory, I feel like, gosh, I've been trying so hard, and that's the one thing I wanted. Is it over? No, but it's a start. It's a crack that we never could have gotten. It's like we've taken a ice pick to a giant granite mountain, and you're picking at it. It's not even getting a scratch. But shoot, we did it finally. And so, like I said, I think this is going to snowball, and it's going to be, and more people that are getting involved, like what you're doing. It's gaining momentum. So I would hope people just hang in there, and depending on your particular situation, everybody's got a knife to hold and to stab, because there's just different avenues, for each person. Did they get to trial? What happened to them in trial? Because that's another level too.
Right.
If you even can get there.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's people like you're talking about sexual assault. Well, I think that happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And we just got to keep it up. Don't give up. Sometimes you got to step back. You do have to step back and breathe and then come back.
Well, you have to take care of yourself through the whole thing. I mean, we've learned that, the hard way. You want to hit it, at 800 miles an hour, because when it happens to you, the adrenaline is just unbelievable. And, listeners out there, this stuff is happening. It is. A lot of people want to shut it all down and shut it all up. People in the, in the Netherlands or whatever, saying that it doesn't have the Netherlands of the medical community is what I'm trying to say, and they don't want you to know that it is happening. It's happening right now as we're talking on this show. Jeannie Rolla, give the website for patient rights website.
PatientRightsInfo.com.
Okay, so you can get a hold of us at that website. You can look up all the information. We're trying to reach out to help people. Thank you, Michelle, as well. We're going to do another segment again next week about this. We want to talk about some stuff that actually came to fruition, so it does happen. I mean, it's 19 years for you, Michelle. I mean, God love you that you didn't give up, and that this is keep going forward, to keep it out in the press and keep it out known in the podcasts, and we're on iHeartMedia. That's worldwide. Yeah. God love all of us that are in this together. So I want to say thank you again. You've been listening to Planet Vero Radio. Please stay tuned.